All right, it's Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, 3 o'clock, and we're here for the Benton-Franklin Health District. I call the meeting to order. Approval of May 21st, 2025 regular board of health meeting minutes.
Sure, I move to go ahead. Oh, you want to say, go ahead.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh, sure, I move to approve the May 21st, 2025 regular board minutes.
All right, do we have
And
a
I'll
second?
second.
Thank you, sir.
Public comment.
Yep.
Oh,
To approve it.
oh, I'm sorry.
Got it for a second. All in favor?
Do I have a motion and a second? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is this your first rodeo? First rodeo?
It is. Public comment is available. Is there anybody in person for public comment? Anybody virtually or telephonically?
If you're online and you would like to make a public comment, you can press *9 on your phone, or you can raise your hand inside of the Zoom app.
Seeing, hearing none, move on to executive.
Yes, so we'll need 20 minutes here and to include Chris Curley, Eric Elsafagan, Brandon Campbell, myself, and the full board.
3:05. Executive session, approximately 20 minutes. We've come out of executive session with no decisions being made. We are going to extend for approximately 10 more minutes. So the time is 3:26 and we will be back out of the executive session at 3:46. 36. We've come out of executive session with no decisions being made. We will now go into a closed session hearing.
For 10 minutes, Chairman, to include myself, Eric Elsafagan, and Brandon McNeil.
It's 3:42. We come out of closed session. Now move on to the senior staff comment, if any. Ready for senior staff comment. Moving on to unfinished business, none. 8, new business, resolution 2503 in a matter of appointment of health officer Janae Parent.
Yeah, but not me, as the
Yeah.
officer. We got that right.
I thought you changed it. What are you
No.
doing 2
Definitely
jobs?
not, no. All right, so I just wanted to follow up with you all. The last we had spoke about filling our health officer position permanently. You had asked for me to go and work with Dr. Kreger about fulfilling that contract. We did get that signed with him effective July 1st. And so it is our honor, Heather and I, our deputy to the health officer, if you would all indulge us, to read into the record the formal and permanent appointment of Dr. Kreger as our health officer.
I would have that too. All right, in the matter of appointment of a health officer, resolution number 25-03. Whereas the Benton-Franklin Health District is required to retain a licensed position as a health officer pursuant to RCW 70.05.050 and RCW 70.05.70070. Whereas the Benton-Franklin Health District utilized standard and appropriate recruitment processes to recruit, interview, and select a qualified applicant for the position. Whereas Stephen Kreger, MD, meets Benton-Franklin Health District's position qualifications, including experience, training, and licensure for local, state, and federal requirements. Whereas Stephen Kreger, MD, meets Washington State's public health officer requirements. Whereas Stephen Kreger, MD, has accepted the position of health officer at the Benton-Franklin Health District. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Dr. Kreger is vested with all the rights, powers, and authorities authorized by Washington state law in pursuant to a health officer's duties and responsibilities.
Up to you, board, now, if you'd like to pass that motion, or the resolution.
A motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass the resolution.
That's
25-03.
Yes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Moving on to Office of Health Director, Dr. Stephen Krager.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope your summer is going well. I'm excited to take the interim title off my email signature and all those things. In fact, I just as you were doing that, I was like, oh, my slides still say interim, so I had to change that real fast. I am gonna start my slide. 1 second. Oh, I need to be made a presenter or perfect. Thank you. Very excited to have the position in a non-interim basis. I've, really enjoyed the time that I've worked with Benton-Franklin so far. The staff has been wonderful. Leadership has been wonderful. Working with you all and the Board of Health has been wonderful. And so I'm looking forward to continuing. Let's see, just a couple topics today. I know we have a full agenda, so I couldn't decide on a topic, so I picked two, but they're both going to be really brief. Measles was in the news recently because we reached the highest number of measles cases that we've had in the United States since we declared elimination in the year 2000. Elimination essentially means, we don't have sustained infection being transmitted within the country over the course of a year. So we're going to see if we keep that status or not this coming year. I have some data in a minute that will kind of show how we're doing over the course of this year, but we've had a lot of large outbreaks. Thankfully, we've had some sporadic cases. We've not had any in Benton or Franklin counties, but the West Side has had 10 cases, but thankfully no kind of sustained transmission or outbreaks, just kind of 1 or 2 cases here and there. But I think it is notable that, this is basically the most cases we've had in 30 years, and we're not done with the year yet. Those were all complete years. We're halfway through. So just a lot more measles than we're used to. I made this point before. We still have much lower rates of measles compared to many parts of the world. And in fact, that is still the main driver of most of these cases is people traveling to other countries and then being infected with measles and coming home. But at the same time, it's also, a concerning trend that I think we need to keep an eye on. This is just hospitalization and death data. We've had 162 hospitalizations across the country of these known cases, kind of that age breakdown there, 21. I'm looking at those age groups or that percentage doesn't actually add up to 100%. And 3 deaths. Let's see. So this is called a epidemiological curve. To me, it's just hopefully you can see my mouse. It's how many cases we've had in the US by week, the last couple years. So, obviously we had a much lighter year in 2024. And I think the main thing I wanted to point out is that we're doing better recently, the past few months. I think the last time I talked about measles was probably March or April. And that was kind of this peak where we were seeing, hundreds of cases a week. And now we've gone down. We're in the 40s, 20s, 30s, and obviously this is the most recent weeks. We'll see those are often underreported as things come in. So I like the trend overall that we've seen. The last 3 months, but again, even if we stayed at this 20 to 30 rate, still a lot higher than how we've been in the past. And like I mentioned, 10 cases so far in Washington, all in Kings, Snohomish, and 1 in Whatcom. Oh, yeah. So measles. We've done, just in general, we've done some planning just around what it would look like to have a measles case and what our, communicable disease response would be. We also are planning to have some prophylactic medication on hand that we can always order it, but sometimes is of the essence where we're trying to treat someone who has been exposed to try to prevent another case of measles. And that's especially true of really young babies who haven't been able to be vaccinated yet, or people with immunocompromise, that sort of thing. So we want to make sure we have that available as quickly as possible, because sometimes the window is really short. Other than that, we are, watching and, communicating with our providers, how to best test for measles if they have a suspect. And we'll kind of see how the rest of the year goes. Given the season, I briefly wanted to talk about harmful algae blooms. I know you are all probably pretty familiar, so I'm not going to go super in depth, and I certainly don't want to steal the spotlight from our wonderful staff person, Jim Coleman, who is an expert in this field, a leader in Washington, I would say, and has put together an incredible program for BFHD in terms of monitoring and keeping, our rivers and waterways safe. So just basic background. This blue-green algae called cyanobacteria can grow really fast in a short amount of time, and then they release toxins. These toxins that are often neurotoxic or toxic to the liver. And when that happens, it's called a harmful algae bloom. We've kind of, our understanding of these has changed over time. We kind of originally thought it was probably more common in more waters with like standing water, like lakes and ponds. But we've found that they are also very common in rivers and along shorelines. And we've also seen these mats called benthic cyanobacterial mats that can kind of grow, detach, and then float to the surface, wash up to shore, and that has caused issues for pets in the past as well. So there's a lot of different pictures of what algae can look like. So a wonderful poster that was put together with all of our city partners that Jim works with. Again, some pictures, what to do. If you suspect you see some, or you suspect that you or a pet were exposed, we want people to enjoy the, beautiful rivers and lakes and water that we have, but we also want people to be safe. Obviously, we've had, deaths of dogs in the past, and we know that it can also cause significant illness in humans. So we want people to be just a little bit extra careful. Just from my perspective as a physician, I'm always kind of curious, well, what does this actually do? What do these toxins do? So I looked up all the main ones that we have most common in Washington. And it's a mixture of kind of, them affecting your liver or your nervous system. And some of these symptoms, these are human-based symptoms, but some of them obviously will cross over with animals as well, vomiting, being unstable, you balance, just really sick. Some of these animals will often look like. You have to be exposed, right? And that's true of kind of any, environmental toxin, infectious disease. We think, especially for animals, most of the exposure probably is via ingestion, where they are drinking water while swimming or getting algae on their fur and licking it. There's also, exposure that occurs through the skin. That's probably a little bit less likely, or at least less of an exposure, similarly with inhalation. But that's how people and dogs, actually get these toxins inside of our body. Let's see. And then, we have a significant testing program, and I'm not going to go into that. Hopefully you all are aware, but all those details are on our website. The kind of weekly testing that occurs during these months, and the follow-ups if we end up getting a positive, and how we notify the public and try to warn people to be a little bit extra careful. I will say it's an impressive kind of program that we've they've put in place, especially, again, I've worked for different jurisdictions, and our program here is really robust. So anyway, something to be aware of during the summer, especially later months in the summer, as the water gets warmer and warmer, we'll probably see this happen or occur more often. I think that's all I had. So happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it back to you all.
All right, well, thank you. Any questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Dr. Prager. We'll move on now to the review of Franklin County resolution. Question review, then Franklin Health Department.
Yeah, so we heard that Franklin County passed a resolution regarding some recommendations that they had for our BFHD Board of Health bylaws. I was able to get a copy of that resolution as well as the recommendations. And in preparation for this, I did ask our general counsel, Chris Mertens, to go ahead and review that and provide the board kind of his perspective on it. And then I'm sure you guys want to talk about it too, but if you don't mind, if we can have Chris speak to his review.
Sure.
I took a look at the proposed resolution, and the resolution seems to indicate that they're looking for an affirmative vote from one county commissioner of each respective county is required for decisions relating to regulations, fee schedules, budget, or budget amendments. The health district is a statutory entity, and it's governed by both RCW 7046 as well as 7005. The recent enactments in changing the scope of the Board of Health clearly identifies that the Board of Health is to contain, at least in a district that has two counties, an equal number of county commissioners from each county, and an equal number of public members within certain classes, which we have taken care of and appointed for our district. We did do an amendment to the bylaws to make sure that we were consistent with the statutory requirements. The primary statutes that apply in this particular situation is 7046-020, and 7046-020 clearly identifies under subsection 1K that the number of members selected under A and E of the subsection relating to the makeup of the board, that it has an equal number of city and county elected officials on the Board of Health, and any decisions by the Board of Health that relate to the setting or modification of permit, licensing, and application fees can only be determined by the city and or county elected officials on the board. We have that specific provision in our bylaws that specifically provides for that under section 10.9, that clearly identifies the fact that the only elected members of the Board of Health are allowed and permitted to vote on the setting or modification of permit, licensing, and application fees, the language directly out of the statute. The enabling statutes, 7005-060, indicates that the powers and duties of the local Board of Health. The local Board of Health is the entire Board of Health. And under 7005-060-3, the Board of Health shall have supervision over all matters pertaining to the preservation of life, health of the people within its jurisdiction, and shall enact such local rules and regulations as are necessary in order to preserve, promote, and improve the public health and provide for the enforcement thereof. With that statutory framework and those very specific statutory provisions, the proposed amendment to the bylaws by Franklin County, I believe, is inappropriate and does not comply with the statutory regulations of the District Board of Health. In regard to the voting on the increase of license fees and those things, only the four county commissioners can vote. Under that set of circumstances, you would need a quorum of 3, which would require at least one county commissioner be present during the time that those votes took place. But as far as trying to limit the ability of this Board of Health to issue regulations, the statutes do not allow that. They don't provide for it. So I don't believe that this particular proposal to amend the bylaws is appropriate and would be easily challenged in court. The remainder of the bylaws, as I said, we looked at them when we did the enactment and changed the makeup of the Board of Health as was required under 7046-020, and we made sure that all of the provisions of the bylaws were in compliance with the statutory requirements related to a District Board of Health. Any questions?
I do have a comment on it though. I'm just gonna be honest, and I think Rocky, you know, I'm pretty straight up and honest about that. I'm looking at this, and the one part that bothers me, I'm gonna say myself, speaking for myself, as a Benton County Commissioner, when I look at that, I says, whereas under the structure, regulations, fee schedules, and budgetary decisions may be made with majority that does not require the consent of both counties, potentially allowing one county and one non-elected representative to impose decisions affecting other counties, including, it says you want to make it fair and everything, but I can tell you 70% of the county between both Benton and Franklin County is within Benton County. We represent 220,000 plus county residents, not 90,000. I always think we have to work together on those things, but when I'm reading on that, I mean, if we're going to look at weighted votes, it'd be a weighted vote. So I think we have to work together on this, but when I'm reading some of the details within that resolution, that bothers because it's a 2 to 1.
I think the question is, what if Franklin County doesn't agree with it? You vote it, then you obligated us to
I get that.
control over citizens that they don't have any input on.
I totally,
That's not right.
and I respect that. I totally get that part there too. But once again, I have to look at it where the majority of the people are, and if we have to come more, it's more of a weighted average than that. So I do respect the attorney's decisions on when I'm reading it. We all go and have collaboration and work together. And I get the part where you're saying non-elected, and I get that, Clint. I really do. I know where you're coming from on that part of
We're
it.
elected by our citizens.
Yep.
And therefore, we're not being heard.
I understand that.
Our vote doesn't count. So there is another option, and that is to disband this Benton-Franklin Board of Health, and we'll create our own. That's another thing. It's in the bylaws. We can do that. We just got to give you 6 months' notice.
Yep, totally understand that. Respect that decision.
And I got to tell you, when we go above and beyond the state of Washington on septic systems, we're out of line.
And on the septic stuff, I know you brought that up before too, Clint. I'm okay with that. If we want to relook and revisit that, I'm good with that. If we have to revisit that, rehash that out, I'm open to that. I'm open to that. I don't have any issue with that. But when I'm looking at that portion of those sentences, and to be fair, I still have to look at what, you know, I work for 220,000 people. I understand where you guys come from, respect it 100%, not discounting that at all. But we have to work together within the rules we have.
You might want to check the population of Franklin County again.
I just saw it was 90,000. Go look at the records. It just came out a month ago or so, approximately 90,000 are in Franklin County. I could be wrong on that. I know it's 220. I was at the BF COG. If you're part of that board too, it was part of that meeting. or at least on the executive side, executive board. So let's work together on this. I get where you guys are coming from. We're willing to work with you on that as far as Benton County, between all the county commissioners, that's obvious. But you gotta be, you know, when I'm looking at some of that verbiage on there, it's pretty harsh on that. So work together. And if you have questions, you can always call all three of us. I just saw that part and that kind of bothered me to the body. And if I would be a total not being straight up with you, both of you, if I didn't say that bothered me. And I, like I said, I'm always gonna be honest with both of you guys, all three of them.
I'm glad it bothered you. We didn't bring it up not to bother you.
There you go.
But I'd like Wes to include, because he was part of a tri-county board of health and they put this into place.
Yeah.
So if both commissioners don't vote, it doesn't pass unless one commissioner votes. That way our residents
Yeah, I get it.
are with one commissioner has voted for the policy. We both voted against it.
So if I could offer up something, because being a resident of Franklin County, and having gone to schools in Benton County, for almost 40 years, I would hate to see, what has been done by our predecessors to bring together Benton-Franklin counties and the public health system undone. What I hear and what I see at the heart of this is something that was felt like by Franklin County standards was not right. And so what I would propose as an alternate before we go down that path.
I'm just telling you what's in the bylaws.
I appreciate that.
I mean, we've got a good
Yeah,
direction by Mr. Mertens there, and I'm just.
yeah, I hear you. I hear it. And I also have my staff that are listening in. I've got, you know, media. And so I want to do right by everybody in this circumstance to say, I hear you about the rule revision and how that bothered you about how it came out. So I'd like to propose bringing that conversation back on the table at the meeting next month.
Well, I also have another issue,
Oh, okay.
and it's all over Facebook,
Okay.
and it's the gay pride. What is propping up an organization have anything to do with the Board of Health?
What did we do?
You put out I got it right here on my phone. I had a resident sending it to me.
And it was posted by, the HIV staff went to, for the food truck. And then that was published by the food truck and then that surfaced.
Okay, so we didn't post it.
Okay,
We
but it's out there, and it was out there before, years prior, and I brought it up when
Yeah.
Carrie was here.
But it wasn't anything to do, we did not post anything.
You didn't post it,
No, we did not.
but I had people sending it to me.
Yeah, it's within their rights of some of that information as well, but we can't control a food truck
Yeah.
posting information.
So I believe the image you're talking about was Heather Hill, our deputy the health officer, that was her birthday. And she had gone out to that food truck for her birthday. And her birthday,
Was she representing?
no, not at all. She was there for her birthday.
How did it get connected with the Board of Health then?
I don't think I don't know, I need to look at it again. I don't think there was anything with Board of Health. My understanding for her birthday, some of the team that she works with here on their own personal time went for lunch. And so there were multiple people from Benton-Franklin Health District from the HIV case management department, which do work with a lot of our LGBTQ+ community. And so that was what was
I
posted.
just had a lot of residents sending me information on it, and
Yeah.
they're upset because why are we participating in this?
And there was no official participation at all. It was mentioned because some of the people that had been involved in like food safety work had gone to that food truck and obviously inspections, because that's what we're required to do. And so they had made a comment that they were grateful that we were always pleasant in our inspections. And so I know it definitely got some traction, but I didn't see it as being something that went viral because it was nothing that we did on our social media at all. And we're very, very careful on what we do because we do understand our community. We do understand the Board of Health's, opinions. And I think it's important that we really walk that neutral line.
Just where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I got people in Franklin County getting a hold of me, and they're very upset about the septic systems too.
That's why
Very upset.
I was offering for us to maybe bring that back for some more discussion.
Been passed.
We can still come back.
We always can come back and revisit that. I'm open to do that too, because
You're ready to change your vote then.
I'm willing to go ahead, I didn't say that, I'm willing to go ahead and be re-educated.
Why do we want to revisit it? We can change it.
Then why are you complaining for it? Why are you complaining about it? It's already been
Because
passed.
Why am I
Unless you
complaining?
want-
Because our voice wasn't heard. Alvarez, Franklin County's 2 votes didn't count for squat.
So then.
And we're the elected
So
official.
then if you want to look at it again and revisit it, there you go. You got your chance.
Just to look at it again. No, we haven't changed a thing.
You got a
We
chance.
will change.
You got a chance to revisit it here with all the board members. You're 1 of 8 or whatever it is. You have a chance to take it back. You got the power. With these board members, if they want to go ahead and look at that, have staff present that again, you got a second bite at the apple. And if I can look at that and see if there's some changes or something that makes sense, I'm willing to do that because I'm big enough to go ahead and decide, hey, you know what?
You're big enough?
Yeah,
Can you put your hat on right?
I can go ahead and do that every day.
Just wondering. I heard you couldn't get that on right either.
But you know what? You want to take personal shots.
No, you're the
lose on
one
that
taking
one.
personal shots. I
I know.
heard what you talked about me and Rocky, Dumb and Dumber. Really?
There you go. You want to go ahead.
Oh, you don't want to bring that out, you know?
Bring it up. Take it outside. Let's talk about it.
Okay, you ready?
So
After this meeting.
what I'd like to propose is if we bring the OSS rule back,
We cut back to this.
one.
Yeah. Mr.
You
Alvarez.
don't care?
No, bring it outside.
So-
So we'll talk about what was exactly
Oh,
said.
They're gonna
I
call
want
it
this
Dumb
out in
and
the public
Dumber.
view.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just continue this conversation at this.
It's going the wrong direction. This is about,
Because when you talk about
resolution.
people behind their back. it
I'm
gets
not
back
talking
to-
about anybody behind anybody's back.
You call
This
it
is a
Dumb
res-
and Dumber.
I didn't say that. This is a resolution we're talking about right now.
So I'd like to propose, if you guys are still open to it, it's up to the board, but I'd like to propose bringing the OSS rule back. I'd like to specifically ask staff to come in and talk about the area of the lot size and how that relates to the nitrate issues that we have and why they proposed a smaller lot size versus the state's larger lot. Like, let's zero into that specific issue. And let's have discussion on that. What do you think?
I'd love to have more discussion on it.
Okay.
Because I don't know why we're going above and beyond Washington State's guidelines.
I hear you. Yeah. Well, then
So we'll
the,
revisit it next month.
yeah, in August.
That's what I was saying. That's pretty basic.
Thank you.
So moving on to announcements.
Can I actually say something before we
Yes.
proceed? So obviously, we're a group of people here trying to do the best for the community. Obviously, there are going to always be decisions taken that are not going to be unanimous, and that's part of the nature of voting. This could be something that, there are some votes that I may not like, there are some votes that I may like, but that's the nature of democracy. Yeah, of course, there's always the position to separate boards, but obviously there's a reason why the Benton-Franklin was one board. For one, we have to understand that the whole world is going towards globalization, and because what happens today in Richland or in Kennewick is not going to be different than what happens in Pasco or any other city. So obviously, our fate is pretty much tied together. And yeah, sure, we can separate boards and we can have, a little bit more control, but neither economically nor realistically that's going to resolve issues, because even if you establish a board in Franklin County, you still have to have non-elected board members, and decisions still have to be made. So I understand. I think what we need to think about going forward is trying to get to what we believe is in the best interest of the population we serve. That's all what I have to say. And I hope, we continue to work together.
Wes, Cart, what did you do in your situation when you had 3 counties?
So we had trouble historically in Tri-County Health for decades. Same kind of going on. Stevens County was the big county. Ponderay and Berry County were small counties. Always felt like they were not getting heard. Threatened to break apart multiple times over the years. We put together a bylaws committee, included Mary Selecki, the former Secretary of Health, in that bylaws committee. We adopted this language, as you see, and I can tell you firsthand, it solidified the board. It made it work. because I'll give you a specific instance related to vaccines. Berry County is very anti-vaccine. The health district wanted to bring on a person with the essential money that they got. I forget what it's called, but the money we get from the state now for basic health.
PHS?
Yes.
Yes.
And Berry County commissioners were totally opposed to hiring a person to work vaccines. It was mainly tied to the COVID vaccine. They didn't want anything, they didn't want the COVID vaccine pushed. The intent was to try and get regular vaccines, I would say like childhood vaccines, measles, mumps, smallpox, things that we've had vaccines for basically 100+ years working. Because they voted no, both commissioners voted no, the motion failed. We went back to the drawing board. Staff did a representation of what it is that they really wanted. We agreed not to have that staff person push the COVID vaccine, but would be there to inform anybody who asked or inquired on that. And at the next meeting, we were able to get a unanimous vote to move forward with that position. And it has that language specifically that we added there, solidified the district so that the minority counties kept their autonomy and weren't dictating regulations into the other county. Berry County was saying the same thing. We need to start, Pend Oreille's done the same thing. We need to start our own health district. Neither one of those counties are large enough to start their own health district and be able to support it. Only together could we make it work. And that language, again, we aren't in that Tri-County Health. We were not subject to this RCW. No disrespect to the attorney. I respect what he's saying. I would argue that the law is not necessarily disallows this. It doesn't prohibit it. That's my opinion, not the legal opinion. I think that you could look into it. Are there other alternatives to do this? And I got a lot of pushback from my own seatmates in Stevens County when we did this originally, because we had 2 commissioners on there, and I had a seatmate who insisted that it be both commissioners vote positive. And I pushed back really hard on that. If you get one, to me, that was good enough. Again, it has worked for probably the last 3 or 4 years since it's been adopted. And there has been no riff. The budget works much smoother in the process. All the voices are heard. I just think it's worked really well. And that's why it was suggested. And the autonomy of the county commissioners in each county is recognized by having at least one of those commissioners done. I realize the population, I can realize populations are different. Stevens County, just under 50,000 people. Berry County was 7, Pend Oreille was 11. You know, we had kind of the same issue. But on the other hand, is it fair to the people that have voted your commissioners in to not have a voice that's representing those folks here? And again, that one commissioner, you don't have to have both, just have to have one on the board. And that allows for that feeling of regulation that may not be commensurate with the feeling of the commissioners to be heard. Again, you know, you offer to bring issues back up again. I think that's a good step, but I see something in here that, you know, my feeling was that if you formalized it like we were able to do, and apparently from the attorney you're not, That way, everybody at home in Franklin County feels like their voice is definitely being heard. And not being dictated to by the big county. And I don't mean that to be offensive.
I understand that, but let me interject real quick. I appreciate that. I respect your opinion on that. But once again, if we go by what the attorney's saying, what the state has, the position the state has put us in, and you would agree that the state has put us in this position, we cannot discount 4 other votes. They're there. And so.
Should be 6 other votes.
Well, 6 other votes, excuse me. So I would say that is still there. That's still going to be in play no matter what, the way we're going right now.
So it doesn't take away.
So that's not the county, not necessarily, even if we take the population out. We have 4 of us here that work pretty hard with everybody on the board. Take that out. You bring the facts in, whoever the staff member is, whoever the community is bringing those facts in. That's all independent thinkers here to make that decision on that. We're just 2 of the number of votes in here to make that decision.
Which you still need a majority of the people on the board to pass any resolution, even if the counties wanted to do that. This just gives you that extra step in addition to what's there, is you have an unelected official from each of the counties that are a party to this voting in the affirmative. So, and it's, budget, same way. If you in Benton County decide that we're gonna make the budget this big, Franklin County can only afford this much and their fee is this much, you've passed it without any regard to whether or not they can afford that. I'm not picking on by saying that. I'm not trying to be offensive.
No, I get that.
But we need to be respectful of each jurisdiction.
Totally 100%.
And that's the intent of this, to be alongside of what's in the RCW, not supersede the RCW.
So on this board, since I've been on this board, I've never seen any disrespect. I think we listen to all parties, including I've followed the lead a lot of times and listened to both of my counterparts in Franklin County 100%. And what they say, I weigh heavy on it when I make decisions personally myself. I can't speak for my fellow commissioner here, but I do listen to that. So when it comes down, what you're saying as well, they have to have a voice. I guarantee you, when, and I can say this without a doubt, whether it's Commissioner Mullen or Commissioner Didier, when they say something, I will listen and take that into consideration 100%. I may not agree with them, but I'm going to ask the questions of staff if they raise up an issue to make sure that I understand before I make that vote. Just as well as you're here representing Franklin County, you're not here for public comments. You're here at the.
Did I ask him?
Yes.
I'm the chairman.
You have certain things and certain powers you have. We're entertaining that right now, and I respect that. But once again, I want to make sure that we are saying, and I'm saying, at least on my vote, I'm listening to the other county. I know that my counterpart, I believe, does the same thing. And we still have other votes here that we have to listen to as well from what the state's asking us to do. When Commissioner Didier was talking about the septic, because this is like the 4th or 5th time I've heard that, it's made sense to me, and I'm willing to go ahead and say, brought it up. Let's revisit it. Let's see what are the points that Commissioner Didier is making that I'm willing to listen again and revisit that. I don't have to say that. I'm saying that because if it's important to a commissioner, bring it back. There shouldn't have been no argument on that. It's just if the rest of the board members are agreeing with that and they're willing to bring it back, bring it back. Let's look at it again. I'm willing to do that. So that's working with another county on resolving issues. So if that makes sense. So I see your point, but we can work through this and get things done as long as we're willing to work together. And so I'm open to those things. But I'm concerned with how the language was on that. And if I said population, you know, I think you're right, Commissioner Leader, it's probably about 100,000, as I just looked it up again, because I don't want to be misquoted. Or so,
If we have this policy in our bylaws,
yeah.
we would have already readdressed this and came through and done it with a unanimous.
Well, like I said, if you had,
This would have forced us to relook at it because the two commissioners from Franklin County didn't vote for it. So we would have had to readdress it before it got passed.
and like I said, I think you know as well as I know, our doors are always open and there's always communication via phone call, whatever, et cetera, too. That could have been a basic phone call as well. But like I said, it's not just my decision or Commissioner Mullen's decision. If we're gonna revisit this, we need to get a feel and temperature for the rest of the board.
I guess we'll take a vote on if we're going to revisit. I would be in favor of revisiting it. Anybody else in favor of that?
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying
This,
aye.
the OSS rule, I just want to clarify.
The septic.
Septic, yes.
So are you going to make that motion to revisit it?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and revisit. I'm not getting the verbiage correct, but I know it's gonna be close enough to
Yeah.
revisit our septic regulations or ordinances within the body of the Benton-Franklin District.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. But we will revisit the next meeting.
So on the bylaw adoption, we can take a vote on that.
Entertain the motion.
I move that we adopt the revision to the Benton-Franklin Board of Health bylaws.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in
Actually,
favor?
can I offer for discussion?
Sure.
Yeah, this is, this exact wording is news to us. Mr. Merton's input is news to us. Can we kick this down to the next meeting as well? So we have a little more time to
That's only
understand
fair.
what we're,
That's only fair.
is that all right?
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
I thought everybody had reviewed it.
Well, that's different from comprehending it.
And I'm concerned when our lawyer tells us one thing, making a vote, right? I am not going to vote against our legal counsel necessarily, and I just want to be clear on that. That puts us in a legal crossway, so.
We have a consensus to revisit it at the next meeting.
Okay, can we get the material, maybe in an explanation from the attorney, just legalities? Because again, we're not attorneys, just to understand what the language is and what the concerns are, so that we can come in with an informed decision.
Next meeting.
And I would like to, so when you guys have put this in place, it was after the RCW was already passed.
We put it in before the RCW is passed. And when the RCW was passed, there was one district that got out of that RCW and it was ours.
And that changes this conversation. I
It
feel like
does-
we're having
could
here based on what our legal
possibly
counsel
change.
is. So I
And-
feel like that's a very important point that needs to be brought up.
I think having a discussion with the attorney on alternatives to achieving the same thing is probably a good direction,
But
my
it does
opinion.
seem like an apples to oranges comparison maybe that we're dealing with when you're bringing this up. So
But
let's be clear with our legal.
but Wes brought up a great point. And that is if we were to increase the budget of Benton-Franklin County Health, and both commissioners from Franklin County votes against it, who are we representing? We're elected.
We can't increase the county contribution.
I'm just saying, that was a great point. Our constituents will get hit with a higher tax without our consent. We were elected. If we voted against it. If the Board of Health budget was asking for an increase, and we both voted against it, but everybody else voted for it, who are we representing?
It's the increase for county contributions.
That would have to be, wouldn't
And
it?
then the non-electeds would not have a vote.
Yep.
Don't have
I
a
know.
vote.
Yeah.
So it's already,
So it's already established that way, that we would actually independently need to come to Franklin County to ask for an increase, and then we'd independently come to Benton County and ask for an increase.
Exactly.
But
So what I'm saying is, even on other topics such as this septic system, voices were just silenced. And our constituents are not being represented.
But what you're wanting, I just want to make sure what you're wanting is one vote on these issues.
Yeah, just one person from the county, if Rocky was to vote for the bylaw.
And one individual that's not elected, or is that what you're saying, or just one county commissioner from each county?
One county commissioner votes for the policy or whatever we're adopted.
Versus
passes.
2 from each county.
Yeah, but it only
I want
takes,
to make sure I understand.
it only takes one county commissioner to vote for it to pass.
We'll revisit it next month.
Announcement. The other entrance exam.
Thank you. This will be short and sweet. Our annual audit from the state auditor's office is underway. We provided them with lots of documents. Our entrance conference is tomorrow at 3:00. If anybody is interested, I know it's late notice. Usually for the entrance conference, they go over what they're going to cover during the audit and their procedures for it. So it's kind of a basic entrance conference. We will have a more extensive exit conference to be determined. If you guys are interested in attending any of those, please let me know and I will get you an invite. Yep. Amanda has something to say.
Amanda? You have an announcement?
On my way up here, sorry. I'm a slow mover these days. T minus maybe a month and a half. I know we're all on some heated discussion, but ultimately, you know, we really appreciate everything that you guys do for us. And I do recommend, Commissioner Didier, if there is something that has to do with our social media or things that your constituents are upset about, please reach out to me. As long as that's okay with, or through Janae, just to make sure that I can clarify anything. We do support our staff. We do love our staff. And, you know, I do consider us a family here, even though that's not necessarily HR's best terminology. I do want to say something too, what we're working on that might be considered somewhat radical for public health is a different type of survey that's going out. That's specifically for our local community and their voices. And so we've seen a lot of differences from some of the content we've received that usually is focused on the west side, and here in Eastern Washington, we're very different in a lot of different ways. And so kind of listening over the past couple of months and really Janae and our conversations, really trying to bring in the voice of the community to make sure that a lot of the polarizing conversations that I know that can be had that are going to continue to come up, that we're very respectful in the way that we approach things. We still have to be very, true to our mission in public health, and our goal is to do no harm in our way that we see from evidence-based information. But ultimately, there's a divide, and there's going to be some conversations and some hard talks. And so, I think hopefully from the survey, as we also look at like emergency preparedness, governmental oversight, things along those lines, to really better understand our community is something that not everyone probably agreed with, but we're working on this kind of undercover survey to really talk to our local audience. And most of them may not be a fan of what we do here at Public Health, or truly understand what we do. And so to better message from us to make it more inviting for everyone that we serve. And so that's something that the communications department is working on. It's still in the works, but I've been able to talk to some of our local senators and representatives as well in some one-on-one conversations, and have received some really good support and feedback that this would, work very well with their constituents. So I believe that that would be something that I'm excited to learn more about. Again, congratulations to Dr. Kreger. We're really lucky to have him. I know he serves a lot of different counties, but I know we're still his favorite, so I like to mention that publicly. And then also Jim Coleman did a great presentation last night. for toxic algae. We had a packed seating downstairs in Spruce. A lot of dog lovers, a lot of people really interested in toxic algae, which was great because it really gave us some insight on, hey, this is the research that we're doing. And this is something that we're doing to benefit our community. And so watching out for those algae mats and keeping our young children and and our dogs safe, you know, is very important to us. So shout out to Jim for that. And my last word is that I am so excited to announce that we have our new communications coordinator. So when I go out on maternity leave, again, in like a month and a half, we'll see. You might want to come earlier than that. I'm ready for it at this point. But I just wanted to kind of let her introduce herself, as you may see her more and more. And what I really respect about her is that she also has a similar background as mine in the reporting world, but ultimately as a very neutral journalist who I feel I respect very highly and will be a really great asset to the agency. So I would like her to introduce herself.
Thank you.
As her first time in front of the board.
Yes, I'll keep it quick, but hello, my name is Noelle Anderson, and as Amanda said, I'm the new communications coordinator. I do have a background in news, but I'm also a native Tri-Citian. I was born and raised in Richland, Washington, went to Richland High School, class of 2019, went on to Washington State University and got my degree in broadcast journalism and media production. Graduated there in 2023, moved back home, worked at KNU the past 2 years, and built up that experience and ultimately decided that journalism isn't for me, but communications more is the route that I want to go. So I'm very excited to be working with the Benton-Franklin Health District, and being a part of meetings like this will be very exciting. So thank you all for having me, and I'm excited for my journey here.
Thank you. Welcome.
It's too bad that she went to Richland High and not Southridge High.
She likes Chick-fil-A.
I do. That's true.
All right, well, welcome. So moving on to approval of vouchers.
I move that the Board of Health approves payment of voucher number 41-2025 through 58-2025 in the amount of $2,363,000. Wait, hold on a second. $2,363,303.21, including free Chick-fil-A food.
Oh,
JK, should I repeat again?
You're fine. We'll
Okay.
cut it out.
I don't know. Second, yes, we're talking about Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Dated next meeting will be August 20th, 2025. There's no other good for the no other business for the good of the health board. That may adjourn.
You did.